A Fox News alert. Former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort set to appear before a district court judge less than 2 hours from now, as another former aide to President Trump admits lying to the FBI about a Russian connection. Earlier in the hour, I spoke with Larry Sabato, who says it's a bad idea for President Trump to keep tweeting about this case.
We don't know what the Mueller team has and what they're going to do. And basically, they've been pretty leak-proof. I kind of think the leak about these indictments came from the courthouse and not from the Mueller team. So we'll just have to see how it unfolds. The president is convinced that there was no collusion. And he feels that very strongly. He's tweeted it out. I'm sure his lawyers have told him to say little.
Let's bring in a couple of legal experts. Defense attorney Richard St. Paul, also a member of the Republican Lawyers Association, and Julian Epstein, former counsel at the House Judiciary Committee and former staff director for the House Government Reform Committee. So, Richard, I'm going to start with you. You know a lot about campaign law. Does any of this in the indictment touch on the Trump campaign itself?
No, it mostly speaks about Manafort's goal of hiding money. He was an advisor to the Ukraine government. He got paid by the Ukraine government. He tried to put more money in his pocket and hide it from being taxed by the United States. And that's mainly what it speaks about. Money laundering, trying to hide that money he made, crimes against the United States, lying to the IRS about money, tax evasion, basically, the Department of Justice lying to them, and also things dealing with his failure to register as a foreign agent. Basically, he was advocating to the U.S. government on behalf of the Ukrainian government. So nothing to do with the Trump campaign. And
worth pointing out, Julian, you are innocent until proven guilty in this country. That's one of the things that separates us from the judicial systems in places like Russia. From your standpoint, you know, you've been a longtime Democrat. From your standpoint, is there anything in this indictment that reflects badly on the campaign, on the Trump campaign itself, or the current White House?
Well, there are 2 counts in the indictment that deal with false statements that are made in 2016 and 17 about his general relationship with the Ukrainians and Russians, and we'd have to dig a little bit deeper there. But I think your guess is correct. There's nothing here that squarely goes at the question of collusion. I think the question here is whether Robert Mueller will try to get Manafort to be a cooperating witness. Remember, Manafort was at that famous June 2016 meeting that was organized by Donald Trump Jr., where Donald Trump Jr. clearly believed that he was getting information from an attorney that was coordinating with the Russian government, information that was damaging to Hillary Clinton. So that's an important data point. Another important data point where there's a lot of news reports that Paul Manafort was instrumental in changing the GOP platform to be favorable to the Russians in the July 2016 convention. A third data point is, you know, Paul Manafort clearly has a lot of knowledge about President Trump's financial relationships, alleged financial relationships with the Russians. That's getting more and more scrutiny. So the question is, while the indictment is not squarely on the indictment does not squarely go to the issue of collusion, can Paul Manafort be a productive witness for Mueller on some of these other questions?
It is every campaign, Richard, gets involved in opposition research. You know, everybody essentially does it. The question in the Trump campaign, or the question of the Trump campaign is, you know, is it illegal to go to the Russian government or to invite the Russian government to provide opposition research?
And that is the particular question that we don't know the answer to at this point in time. Because, look, in Title 18 of the United States Code, which is the criminal section for the federal government, there is no collusion. So we have to look at traditional white-collar crimes like money laundering. Did you pay people did foreign governments pay people in the United States? Did they donate money to political campaigns? You cannot be a foreign agent, that is somebody from another country, and donate to a political campaign or spend money on behalf of a political campaign here in the United States if you are a foreign entity. So Paul Manafort is one of many different pieces that we will see come together under this Mueller investigation. But as it stands now, the charges against Manafort have nothing to do with the campaign, or doesn't seem like it brings us any closer to
Richard,
that resolution.
Richard, what about Julian's point, though, that they may be using these charges as a cudgel to try to get some cooperation from Paul Manafort?
Well, that's what the feds do in any type of cases I've handled too for clients. You try to get a cooperating witness. That's standard operative procedure. But again, he is a small aspect in terms of something larger here. Right now, we don't have anything to show that there was collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians at this point in time. It's going to be a longer investigation before that, if it even comes out at all.
Can I just touch on a couple of those points? So we do have some evidence of collusion to the extent that Donald Trump Jr. was willing to take a meeting from who he thought was representatives from the Russian government. But to your legal question, you cannot take a hostile foreign government, help from a hostile foreign government as a campaign in a federal presidential campaign because of campaign finance laws. That's considered a contribution. Mm-hmm. So you have that issue. Secondly, the techniques that were used by the Russians in this case involve cyber crimes, hacking, illegal hacking of computer systems. There are probably another half dozen laws that were violated in the process of the Russian campaign to interfere in the U.S. election. So there are clearly very serious federal criminal statutes involved. It's true that there has not been proven whether the Trump presidential campaign was actively collaborating in the violation of any federal statutes, but there's no question there are serious criminal violations that occurred on the part of the Russian activities here.
Yeah, we do know that the Russians wanted to sow discord, and they seem to have done that, and they have accomplished that. Julian Epstein and Richard St. Paul, we'll check in with you again. Thank you both.
Okay, thanks for having us.